Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask Abby. It's another Wednesday, which means we have another great episode for you here today. Welcome back. We today are talking about cash flow, 5 ways to get your cash flow problems in check. You've probably had a lot of advice along the lines of, skip the Starbucks line and you'll have more money. That's not the kind of tips and tricks we're talking about. We're talking about real deal problems that many people have and maybe they don't realize they have with their cash flow. So stick around for a deep dive on some tips and tricks for cash flow. Plus, we have a sneak peek of our new tool on our website that'll break down your cash flow in a super simple way. So I'm going to attempt to screen share that with you today, and hopefully that works. You'll get a sneak peek into what the tool will be able to do. It'll be free on our website, which is fantastic. So you won't want to miss that. So today, like I said, we're talking about cash flow. This is relevant for everybody's life, regardless of what kind of situation, financial circumstances you are in. This is relevant for you. So that's what we're talking about today. So let's just dive in. Number one problem with cash flow is you're spending most of or too much money on your rent or housing payments. It's not uncommon. A lot of times people say that the rule of thumb or generally you should be spending 30% of your income on rent. But that's not necessarily true or necessarily true for you. Hi, Jim. Good to see you. So that's not necessarily true for you. So if you hear that 30%, that basically means if you make $2,400 a month, you spend $800 per month on rent. Is that true? For you, I don't know. Why? Because there are so many other variables that play in to your rent payment. For example, where you live, where you work, your other bills, your debt payments, so many of these things play in. If you're living in Los Angeles or New York City, your rent payment is automatically going to be percentage higher. So it's all circumstantial, right? But generally 30% is a good place to start. If you're spending 50% of your income on your rent, it's probably pretty tight at the end of the month, and you should look, if possible, to see if there's adjustments that you can make. Even especially right now, if you're in the position to move into something that might save you a couple $100s a month, right now, property managers and landlords are looking for reliable tenants that can make their rent payments. So start looking and see if you have that option to spend a little bit of money. As we're going through this today, I do want to say, please comment if you agree with me, disagree with me, if it's relevant to you or not. I want to know. I want to hear it all. So please comment, ask questions. I'm going to have some resources for you. And like I said, stick around. I have a sneak peek of our new website tool. So that's number one, is just looking at how much money are you spending on rent and can you make adjustments? The number two most common cash flow problem is how expensive are car payments. Car payments can cost you as much as rent anymore. The average car payment is somewhere around $700, and that can be a good portion of your cash flow, which can cause some problems if you have a lot of other expenses as well. So before we dive into car payments, I just want to remind everyone that our shows the last couple of weeks, we did 3 shows on money and cars. So I'm going to put the link in this way, the comment bar for you. So if you have a car, watch this video about refinancing. We broke down everything you need to know about refis, if it's a good idea, a bad idea for you, when to do it, and how to get the best refi deal you can. So that's the video for you. If you have a car and you're having trouble making your payments because of COVID-19, we did a video all about that. So please watch this video and let me know if you have questions on any COVID payments. If you're having issues because of COVID, please let me know. I'll do a show just for you, just on that topic. But this is the show we did to talk about car payments during COVID-19, some of the resources and the relief options out there for you. So that's that show for you. And lastly, our show about cars. I told you we talked a lot about cars. So if you don't have a car, but you think you might buy one soon or just someday, this video is for you. We talked about how to not get ripped off at the car dealership, things to look for, things to consider, things like that. So watch that video if you're thinking about buying a car now, later, anytime. Before we go to the car dealership, watch that video. So let's dive into cash flow issues in terms of car payments. So how much money should you actually be spending on your car? Generally, like we talked about, rule of thumb for rent is 30%. Rule of thumb for cars is somewhere around that 10% mark of your income. So that includes, though, the expense of car insurance. So and things like, you know, expenses that go along with cars. So if you don't drive much, which right now most of us aren't necessarily driving a lot, ask yourself if the car you have is adequate for what you use it for. Also consider what's your interest rate. Is it a good time to refi? Watch that video. Is the car reliable, and is it worth more than what you owe? So if it's worth more than what you owe and your car payment is too expensive, it might be a good idea to consider selling and purchasing something that is more affordable. After you answer these questions, decide that if you can purchase something that's more affordable, and consider looking into something equally reliable but potentially less expensive, and you might be able to lower your car payment. Your cash flow in terms of your car, additionally, you can look into things like insurance. You might be able to save there as well. At least that's what all the insurance commercials have us thinking, right? So it doesn't hurt to ask to get some quotes to see if you can save some money in your car insurance. Generally, that's what we're going for, though, is about 10% of your income on your car payment. The number 3, cash flow. So we've talked about 2 things. The first most common problem with cash flow is you're spending way too much money on rent. The second is car payments. And the third is you have a lot of debt. That can be a huge, major problem. So I'm going to make this one really simple. I like to consider our coaches debt experts because they deal with so many different circumstances in terms of your finances, your debt, your credit, that they are experts at all things debt. So rather than diving into the nitty-gritty details of your debt and how much you owe and what to do next, just call our coaches. It's free. We don't try to sell you anything. The goal is to analyze your finances, your various debts, and we provide you with options and let you take it from there. So it's, no pressure, no judgments, just pure advice and direction. So call our coaches. If you have a lot of debt, call them, and we'll make number 3 very simple. So those are the 3 major categories where most people have issues with cash flow: rent, car payments, and debt. They're usually the 3 biggest problem causers. And I want to know, are those the costs that are burdening you lately? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know, especially if you disagree, I want to know your thoughts. So put it in the comment bar. Let me know. You can shoot me a message on Facebook. You can let me know all that stuff. So I know I mentioned a few times we are showing you that sneak peek today. So before we go any further, I'm going to attempt to show you that. Maybe. Let's see. Maybe not. Well, I will put it in the comment bar for you after this video. Let me just grab that. All right, so sorry about that, guys. I know I said a sneak peek, and I will get that sneak peek to you as soon as I can. So let's just move on from that. If I figure it out, I just asked a question to one of my teammates to see if we can get that figured out. But if not, I will get that sneak peek to you guys. I want to make sure that we can get that to you because it's awesome. The new tool is super great. So I'm working on that, but let's just move on to number 4 while we figure out how to get you that sneak peek. Number 4, the number 4 most common problem for cash flow is that you don't pay yourself first. I know you might be thinking this isn't always possible. That's true. And while 20% is the general idea, the general guideline for how much you should save of your income per month, 20%, that's pretty significant. So 20% is usually what they say. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this in the comment bar for you and let's talk about it real quick. Sorry guys. I think I can do that. Bear with me. I'm trying to get you this awesome sneak peek. And we are already planning on posting it later this week. So if this doesn't work, you will see it. Let me get this to you. I'm going to post it after this video. That's what I'm going to do. Sorry about that. We will get that screenshot to you. I really want to show it to you. So even if I have to go live after this, after I figure out how to show that screenshot, I will show it to you. Let's dive back in though. Number 4 is pay yourself first. The most common problem is that you don't pay yourself first. You're not saving anything. So 20% of your income should be saved. If you're already having problems with steps 1 through 3, a lot of times what the advice that people give are, well, you go to Starbucks too much. You spend too much money on Starbucks. If you're having problems with cash flow problems 1 through 3, skipping the Starbucks line probably won't make much of a difference. So that's not really what we're talking about here. If you're comfortable though with your cash flow breakdown and are ready to have some smaller changes, this can actually be really helpful. So whether it's $20 a month or 20% of your income, start paying yourself something, just a little bit, just a little something. So take a look, see what you're spending. Stop right here and look at that number for food and dining. While we're not talking about Starbucks, we're going to talk about food and dining, because if you dive in a little bit deeper and your bank statement charges look something like line item, restaurant, coffee, ice cream, restaurant, coffee, tag your friend, you know who you are. Grocery store is nowhere to be found on those line items, or maybe you have grocery store for $20 because you spent $20 on laundry detergent and you called it grocery shopping. You can probably save some money in this food and dining category and start paying yourself first. We're not talking about that one Starbucks trip. We're talking about the restaurants, the coffee, the drinks, anything like that that's relevant to you. If you can make a couple cuts here and there, even if it's just one of those dining out times, save that, stay in, transfer it, auto payment to your savings account. Pay yourself first, just a little bit. It's the number 4 problem for cash flow. Outside of those 3 major things, it's the number 4 problem for cash flow, that people don't have a savings account. It's a big step to take, and you don't have to make it huge, just something. So that's number 4. And then finally, we're going to jump into number 5 for cash flow breakdown, is having too many open accounts. I know we talked about debt potentially being a problem, and we didn't dive deep into that. But what's the difference between what I'm saying now, which is having too many open accounts, and the debt? So that's actually, it's a big difference. And what I mean here is, why is this a problem? Because you can't keep track of everything. If you have store cards, various credit cards, travel cards, gym memberships, streaming subscriptions, those things all take away from the big and essential line items that we talked about, like car payments, insurance, rent, student loans, retirement, and existing debt payments. If you have so much to keep track of, you're not going to be able to make big progress moving forward. So simplify your finances. We actually did a video on this So watch, I'm going to put it in the comment bar, watch this video on simplifying and spring cleaning your finances is how we talked about it. So let me know what you think about that. Those are our major 5 cash flow problems. You've got rent payments or housing payments. Number 2 is your pricey car payments. So if your car payment is too expensive. Number 3 is debt payments. Number 4 is you don't pay yourself first, you don't have a savings account. And number 5, finally, is just having too many open accounts and too much to keep track of. Those are the 5 big ones. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are some of the things that are burdening your cash flow problems? If you are spending more than you're making, let us know how we can help. So ask me questions. You can also shoot me an email at askabby@creditanddebt.org. And yeah, so if you have any questions or thought on this, please let us know. That's our show today for you guys. Please hit that like button. If you like and share our stuff, we benefit because more people see it, and you benefit because if you really do like it, you'll see it more often. So go to my Facebook page, it's Ask Abby, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Opt in to get notifications on Facebook when we go live at 12:30 Pacific on Wednesdays. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. I will post that screenshot for you, or I'll go live right after this as soon as I figure out how to do that and walk you through that tool on our site. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Ask Abby. Hey everyone, I am back. I am live again, screen sharing our new tool. This is just a sneak peek. So stay tuned and we'll show you more about it. But as I promised, I just wanted to show you this. It's our brand new tool that breaks down your 7 to 8 major expense categories relative to your income, and it shows you where your problem is if you have one. If you have a cash flow problem, this will show you everything. So it breaks down your income, your expenses, and then each of these categories, your auto payments and your auto expenses, bills, utilities, your current debt payments, food and dining. Like I said, dive into that a little bit and see where your food and dining line items are coming from. Health and fitness, that's a big one too, where people can end up spending too much on gym memberships. And then of course your home, whether that is rent or mortgage or anything like that, your children, shopping, entertaining, and this other bucket that lumps everything else in there together. What's awesome about this tool is we also provide recommendations for you on these major expenses. So like we talked about, anywhere between 10 to 12% of your income should be allocated to auto, and then 10% of your income to debt payments. And then we talked about having that 20% potentially to your savings. If that's not possible, like we said, start somewhere. Start with $20 instead of 20%. So I just wanted to come back on and show this to you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can go to creditanddebt.org and sign up to be the first one notified when this tool and so many other tools. We'll have a ton of free tools for you guys. Plus, you can call a coach right from this page. You can call a coach here, or you can dial this phone number and call a coach from there. So go to creditanddebt.org, sign up for our waiting list to be the first one notified when this stuff goes live. So as I promised, I just wanted to come live again. Thank you so much for watching my show today. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, please let me know. Have a wonderful week and weekend, and we will talk to you next week.